but I needed to take 6 additional classes to get this license. So this is my last 2 classes this semester, and so this presentation is part of that. So thank you for being here and being part of it. We've all been there and had to do lesson plans and all that kind of stuff, so thanks for accommodating me. So just kind of the history of why Legos, and we'll get to a little bit more of that in a second. We rolled out Junior First Lego League to the 3rd grade this year, and Judy and I just learned so much in doing it. And we really saw the connection of bringing creativity and collaboration, you know, into the Tinker Lab in supporting the other curriculum areas, and we'll get into that in a second. But what I wanted to do is, and that's the reason we did it, this is the agenda for today. We're going to start with the hook activity, which is what is on the tables. And then I'm going to walk through some goals after we do this activity. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Junior First Lego League, go into a few examples of how you can use Legos in the classroom, and there's actually some Duplo blocks in front of you. And then the last thing I'm going to leave you with is something called a Lego Visualizer, which is an application that Lego makes available to incorporate story starters, photography, comic strips, story writing, all those sorts of things. So, you know, and I'll get into this in the goals, but what I just want you guys to hear is this doesn't have to be, you know, nothing is the end-all be-all. This is just another way to hopefully get us to think more creatively and more collaboratively. And if you can use it in your classroom, that's great. And if Judy and I can support you in library and technology and do this some of this here, we're more than happy to do that as well. So the first activity, everybody has, let me bring these blocks over here. Everybody has a baggie on their table, and it's got a couple slips of paper in it. And then you have these Duplo blocks here, which are articles, pronouns, prepositions, a few things like that. Then there's a few blank blocks, ones that they're bigger, and then there are a couple that are smaller. And so what I want you to do, this activity is really for about 4 people, but if you guys want to work together and collaborate, that'd be great. What I'd like you to do is have one person pick out one of the parts of speech out of this bag, and independently, so not with your friend, write, for instance, a noun, or a proper noun, or an adjective, or an adverb, or whatever it is. After you do that independently, then as a team, you get to work together to put them together into a sentence. And so then, that's where the pronouns and prepositions and things like that come into play, and it turns into really kind of like a Mad Lib type of thing, but with Legos. I gave you 2 extra blocks in case there's something else that wasn't included on your main block to incorporate. So have fun with it, and then we're going to read our sentences out loud to the group.
And then when we get the articles from here, and then everybody picks one.
You each pick one. So like if there's 4 in a group.
There is, I'm not here.
I'm not here.
Sorry.
We're not.
I could have done more, but I was trying to.
Stinky did.
Thank you for the refresher. I did have to think about it. My bird is not going to float with this. What's an atmosphere?
She's like, I hope I'm right.
Now why?
How's it going? Are you guys ready to put them together?
Yeah. That's my hot
I would get a little yes, please. Do you need an extra pen or pencil?
She was, what were you doing? Dana bought.
You guys can start putting them together in a sentence.
Okay.
Okay, we gotta get one of these, right?
Slosh, man.
Get it right.
And maybe that's all you?
Okay, so
All you need?
We're underachievers. And that's okay.
on him.
That's great. You're on him.
She uses this as a
Yay, great. I know.
Well done. Cortez eat and purple whale with her.
Oh,
I thought you were gonna make that.
But you can add
I slowly slash the pretty ketchup
on myself.
or
It's her for
With her. I sliced it.
On him, her,
and it.
and it. Exactly.
Slowly, they cut out my
With her favorite.
On him,
Their favorite.
could have been like run.
All right, Griswold, on you now. Let's see what we're working on here.
we were supposed to share it a lot.
Yeah. Now forever shared.
Yeah, we just watched. No, not him.
Miss Lester, do we have to behave ourselves?
All right, let's see. All right, who's ready to share? Who's ready to share? All right, ladies, Catherine's gonna be the first one to share.
All right, we have.
Oh, it's videotaped.
I
No, you can take that off.
I slowly sloshed the pretty ketchup on him, her, and it.
And I like the way she stacked them as opposed to just putting them.
No, that was Tracy.
We need a period.
Oh, we need to make
All right, ladies, what do you guys got back here?
Dr. Cortez eats a purple whale with her favorite cousin.
All right, what do you guys got back here?
Very insightful.
Hey. What? We don't need to repeat it. We're all good. We're all good.
All right,
We're all good.
next, what do you guys got?
All right, Miss Susan dreams quickly with her soft pillow. What was it? Miss Susan dreams quickly with her soft pillow.
What? That was paper.
So anyway, this is just a little bit of an icebreaker, but you can see that you can stack them all in a row, and what was interesting is after I said, hey, that's a great idea that you stacked them. And I'll show you an example later where we, my thought was we could put in parts of speech underneath it, we could put in proofreading marks, we can put all sorts of things in that. And part of the thing that inspired me to do this is, one, we've been doing a bunch of Mad Libs with some of the older kids, upper elementary, lower middle school for in Scratch, doing what we call cat libs. But also, every week in language arts, I know Johnny comes home with parts of speech and identifying those things. And so that was just another way that perhaps we could do a hands-on activity with parts of speech, sentence structure, and things like that. So, a couple of goals for today. One is I'd like you to start thinking a little bit more broadly about technology. And what I mean by that is just kind of having an enhanced definition of what technology is. And so we have a definition that I keep up here on my board, and basically it's any invention including tools, machines, materials, techniques and sources of power that make people's work easier. And so if we look at this list, I think that most of us would probably agree that we call a computer, a smartphone, a car, all those things technology. But would you know, if you were asked by somebody, would you include shoes, pens, and Legos? And I know that a lot of times when we start out the year and we ask kids about that, they're not thinking about that. They're basically thinking if it has a screen and a battery, or a screen and you can plug it into the wall, that is technology. And so we're just trying to change, kind of have a little bit of paradigm shift here of what technology is. You can create it, you don't just have to consume it. So again, just to get you thinking about what technology is. Another thing is just like in this hook activity, how can we get everybody to think a little bit more creatively and collaboratively. And again, it doesn't have to be Legos. It could be a bunch of other activities. But again, this is our mission statement to, cultivate academic excellence through collaboration, creativity, and character development. And I hope that there's more presentations like this, because I love to hear other people's ideas. And I think you do also. And then lastly, just understand that, again, whether it be Legos or all sorts of things that we're doing with second grade in animal projects or third grade on reports or what have you, the way we work with science, library and technology is here to support you. We want to do things in this classroom, but we also want to make sure that we can support you in your classrooms. So whether that be with Legos or computers or whatever it might be, we're here to support those initiatives as well. And so if I had to kind of put together a mission statement for what we do here, it would be that we support all the curriculum in lower school, and we use that technology, a variety of technologies, to understand how it works. Like for instance, again, in a little bit of upper grades, we start taking apart computers, things along those lines. And we want to be able to create technology. So again, shoes in the hallway, different projects like that, some of the inventions that fourth graders and third graders did last year. And how can we do that through research? And we'll talk about the Junior First LEGO League as a great example of that, and a lot of hands-on activities. And also that within the definition of technology, that is something that can make somebody's life or work easier. Again, just having that enhanced definition. So why would I be thinking of incorporating Legos into my classroom or into the Tinker Lab? Well, every student knows how to use them already. I mean, and if they've never seen them, which I doubt, they can pretty easily kind of get it. We don't have to worry about internet connections. We don't have to worry about any of that type of stuff, plugging them in, anything along those lines. And we just don't know when our next infusion of technology is going to be here at the school. When are we going to get a new round of laptops? When are we going to get a new round of iPads? And so again, this is just another way we might be including including some things into the classroom that can be hands-on and can support some of the things that you're already doing. These things are typically not dependent on the student or teacher to learn a piece of hardware or software, with the exception of something I'm going to show you a little bit later. And typically they're not a budget buster. They're something that you might already have in your classroom and you can kind of have at the ready. So as I mentioned, the Junior First LEGO League was really an inspiration for this presentation and something I wanted to share with everybody what we're doing. And let me just show you an example of what it is that some of our groups have created. In Junior First LEGO League, typically it's an after-school program that schools have or Cub Scouts offer or different groups like that. And I really like the idea behind it, and I wanted to roll it out to the entire third grade so that it wasn't just a select group of kids who were able to participate in it. And so some of the parameters around Junior First LEGO League is that you have to do research on a natural disaster. Every year is a different topic. This year it's natural disasters. What we did is they self-selected themselves into groups. They had to select a natural disaster. They had to choose the portion of the disaster that they wanted to focus on, before, during, or after. And then they needed to come up and try to solve a problem with at least one simple machine and one motorized part of how they would try to help out during that disaster. For instance, if it was after a hurricane, they might be developing something to get all the debris out or save people or something along those lines. And I will just say, and I think Judy will back me up on this, I was blown away about how excited they were to do something like this, how the research didn't seem to be as much of a burden as it normally is. And I'll just show you one of these examples, and we've got 7 more examples back there. This is one of their Show Me posters, and they have to have pictures of the team and the pictures of the team working. I'll carry it around. But basically, if you can see it over on your left side here, there's a lot of interesting facts. How do people prepare for their disaster? How people warned. They have their sources on there where they found their information. And then down at the bottom on this particular one, they developed a lava scooper to be used, let's see, is that during the eruption. So it's not so much is it really realistic that they can do it. What's fabulous about it is that they just came up with that idea and they